Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? Grand, I hope. It is a, it is a very warm Tuesday here in Peoria, Arizona. But, you know, we get those winters that are really pretty, so it kind of evens itself out. Let's see. Anybody here yet? It kind of evens itself out. Oops. Okay. So, I am going to, I feel like a broken record. I do keep saying I have so much to tell you. Hey, Lynn. So today, hi, Renee. Hi, Carmen. I do have so much to tell you. So, Allison. Oh, I'm so glad you're here too. Hi, Jamie. So, I do want to, I had to make a new sign. And you'd think with all of my art supplies, I'd be able to come up with something cuter than this. But when I took all my stuff to California, it kind of got crunched in the car. So anyway, let's go over it again. La 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 la. Please after the price of this class is you just need to follow and like me on Facebook and Instagram, and then once you've taken a class, please ask to join our Let's Get Artsy with Corbiere-Scott private Facebook group, because we have a whole nother level of fun going on over there. And then finally, hi Yvonne, another cousin, you guys. The reason that my lights stay on and I can continue to be a working artist is when you purchase my art printables. They are available on my website, Corbiere-Scott-Designs.com. Be sure once you print them, once you purchase them, that you make sure that you download them you save them to your downloads on your, hi Barbara. Make sure you save them to your downloads on your computer, because the link will disappear after 24 hours. And so I want you to make sure that you can print it for as much as you want. What was the other thing I wanted to tell you? So today we're working on the Debbie printable. Each printable that I create, if you know me, then you know everything is full of thought, and nothing is really simple in my brain. So the Debbie printable, I printed, the whole inspiration for that is that one of my coworkers, hey Keels, Debbie Miller, sent me this, hi Anita, sent me a quote one day and said, I read this and it just sounded like you. And here's the quote. The real secret to a fabulous life is to live imperfectly with great delight. How cool is that, right? I just thought that was fabulous. So, but I have some other stuff I want to talk to you about. I do too, Nancy. I love it too. Okay, so here's a cool thing. So you probably all know that I went to California to visit my mother-in-law this past weekend, and I did my Saturday class from her house in Oceanside, California, where we did our Andy Warhol tribute. Anyway, I totally forgot my Archon stand over there. So I realized that Monday morning, and so I had to hurry up and go on Amazon and buy something else. So I'm using this different kind of a stand, so I'm hoping that it works out okay. You guys will have to tell me Anyway, the thing I really wanted to talk to you about, I came home on Sunday night to this package from Adorn It. And in it, it was chock full of all of the 50 state printables that I've drawn so far. I've drawn 18. Well, I've drawn 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. But the other, the next 6 are in the process of being printed. And I'm drawing some others, 6 more right now. So I wanted to show you what I got. I got 2 kits. So here's the Arizona kit. And it comes with all of the sulky thread. Beautiful. And here is the Michigan kit. Again, it comes with the printable and sulky thread. And then, here we go. Wyoming, Minnesota, Idaho, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, Utah. Are these all upside down, you guys? I am so sorry. It's frozen. Is it frozen for everyone? Do I need to start again? So sorry. I can't believe I'm showing you upside down stuff. Sorry, I didn't look up. You did? Oh, Keely, I can't wait to see your finished stitched projects. So let's start that again. I'll show you them not upside down. I am so sorry. So here's Michigan. Okay. Here's Arizona, Utah, Wisconsin, Massachusetts, Idaho, Minnesota, Wyoming, Iowa, Colorado, Texas, Illinois. This is the one that Keely said she just finished. Tennessee, Connecticut, Indiana, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. So, oh, and the Michigan and the Arizona I got as kits because I've never embroidered with sulky thread. I've embroidered my entire life, but I've never used sulky thread, so I felt like I needed to try, so I made an informed endorsement of it. And you know what? But my friend Sherry, who's also an avid embroiderer, along with Keely and I, and Krista. Anyway, she said that I won't want to go back to DMC. So, we'll see. But I have so much DMC because I was a counted cross-stitch girl forever. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Okay, no. Okay, Barbara, let us know when you're back, and then we'll start again. I won't go through all the patterns again. I'll just, I'll hold off on starting the painty part until you're back. Okay, are you there, Barbara? Awesome. Okay. So today, I asked you to purchase the Debbie art printable and to print it twice on watercolor paper because I wanted to show you something that I just thought was a cool technique that wouldn't take too much, it's not super complicated. And then I'll show you some fun things that we can, something that we can do that is, I think, pretty impactful. So I'm just gonna start painting. I mixed a little bit of orange with some yellow up here, so I'd have just kind of I just kind of like that buttery yellow. And I'm using my, as always, I'm using my classic Prima watercolors. If I use a different watercolor, I'll try to let you know. I thought that I could show you one time an art printable with some of the handmade watercolors I've bought, so you can kind of see the whether you have some or if you've been thinking about it. You could just see the difference and see the color range, and I can kind of just tell you what I know about them. So I'm just going to do a kind of a washy yellow. Okay, did it freeze again, or is everybody okay? I think it's okay. Why does it keep looking blurry? Whoops. You know, I'm trying to not hit this new stand thing. Seriously, I could not believe that I forgot it over there. I love that stand. Okay, so now I'm just going to take some of this red, right, that I've just had on my palette mixed. So you can choose something that you had mixed. Oh, so I wanted to tell you that on Thursday, when we do our little pop-in paint party, we're going to use this same art printable. I'm just going to show you something different, a different way to paint. So be sure to bring this same art printable that if you purchased it for today, you're just going to print it one more time. Okay, so I've painted this flower with some reddish, and I'm just going to deepen down here. I painted this one that buttery yellow, remember? And then this one I did just kind of a real washy pinky red. And now I'm coming in with a little bit of deeper red, but I'm just barely tapping it in, right? I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute, rinse my brush, and then, you know, as always, I'm wiping it off on my paint cloth, right? And then we're just gonna tap that out. It's still pretty wet, so let's let that sit for a minute. So maybe this one will do kind of a nice turquoise, but we're gonna get real watery first, right? We're always watery first. And if I have flowers that are kind of close like this, I just paint almost to the edge because I don't want them bleeding into each other. And remember, you don't have to do like side to side, edge to edge color. You're just wanting to start off with that nice washy base so that, so I felt like this was a little bit heavy. So I just wiped off my brush and I came back. So I cleaned my brush. Hey, Rebecca. I cleaned my brush and I wiped it on my paint cloth, right? And now if I brush this brush on this wet paint, it kind of acts like a sponge. It's gonna pull up the excess paint. So then when I come over here, I can start using that stuff that I picked up from here over on this petal. So now let's finish this petal out. And that is super watery. So we'll bring some more of that over here. Remember, there's no rhyme or reason. You could paint them all the same color if you wanted. That's the beauty of a paintable, right? That you, what was I doing? Oh. That you can paint it however you want. But the thing I wanted to show you today, I think is super cool and really quite simple. The technique. But quite impactful, right? So I feel like this is, again, just a little heavy. So I'm going to pull that off of this petal, wipe it into my paint pot, wash my brush, do the same thing here. Because I like to really start light. Okay, so now for the big reveal. So this is what I thought we could do today. We're gonna paint we're gonna paint the flowers. You know what? I purchased them all over, Barbara. I have like three sources that I buy from now. I buy Hydra Colors, HYDRA, and I think I've posted those on my website. I'll try and write them all down for you. Sorry, Barbara, I'm just seeing that. It's kind of hard to, so these are all on Etsy, Hydra Color. Artistic Isle, and Watercolors by MYRTHE. Okay, so Hydra Colors are, for the most part, sparkly, shimmery. So here are my Hydra Color. Here are my Hydra Colors. Aren't they just the most beautiful thing you ever saw? And they smell like cloves. I just love them. So you see, I have a couple colors that I haven't played with yet, but we will, and then I'll tell you kind of my thoughts on all of them. The next one I said I have is Artistic Isle, and I have them in this little tin. Me too. I like sparkle too, Rebecca. These are by Artistic Isle. And these are, I really like them because they're creamy and gorgeous. These are from a set called Waterflower something something. Now I don't remember. Waterflower. Anyway, or Wildflower. It's Wildflower something. Anyway. I've gotten quite a few of her dot cards when I've placed orders, and I have more coming of Artistic Isle. Her colors are beautiful, super creamy. Really, the thing I've found with handmade watercolors is that they're highly pigmented. So you just need a little bit. So you just need water and your watercolors, and start out with your really light layer of watery wash because they're so kind of intense. Hey, does anybody remember this tin? The York mints that were little chocolate balls with York peppermint patty in the center? Anyway, the last ones that I've played with are these, and these are the ones that are, so Hydrocolor comes from Florida, Artistic Isle comes from Georgia, and these Watercolor by, I don't know if you say Mirta, I don't know. Anyway, if someone knows how to say, it's Dutch. But anyway, look at her stuff is a work of art. Everything that she sends is a work of art. These are her dot cards. Number one, look at how much paint you get. So you really get a feel for her colors, right? When you buy her dot cards. And this is all hand lettered. Every single thing. The packaging, I think I did an Instagram post about them. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. So anyway, be that as it may. We'll get back to painting, but I'll do a one of these little Facebook things, classes on handmade watercolor, so you can kind of see the difference. So anyway, so here's what we were painting, right? I cut off this hello because I was using it on another card or another something that I was making. Anyway, here's what the thing I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about, so here I painted this and I painted this, and the only difference is that I made this with a dark background and this with just watercolor, or just watercolor paper. So do you see the difference? I think there's I use the same colors. I didn't do the blue yet, but I used the same colors, and I just wanted you to see the contrast. The contrast is crazy to me. So I want everybody to just start painting. I need to run and blow my nose really quick. I'll be right back. So the screen isn't freezing. I'm just gonna run to blow my nose. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I just get these really allergy attacks. Is everybody there? Okay, so is everybody painting their flowers along with me, or are you just watching? Just let me know. So now I'm going to paint this washy blue. And this background looks kind of splotchy because I just did a really watered down black. And I'm gonna I'll work to build that as I go along. But now I want to work on painting the petals. And like I said, I will, as normal, I will post the cards that I make with these later, probably tomorrow, on my Instagram and Facebook, and I'll put them in the private Facebook group too. And I have some other ones that I've created from past lives that I can put in the, that I can post also. I just feel like, you know, inspiration breeds inspiration, right? I might come up with a color combination that you're like, oh, I could totally do blah, blah, blah with that. And I think that's the, you know, we all have these artistic eyes and we see things different, you know, and we can learn from one another. That's the coolest thing, I think, about a artistic community. And I just don't think there's anything cooler than being part of an artistic community. So now I'm going to pick a smaller brush because I'm going to paint one of these smaller flowers. I have this really cool purple up here. I'm going to use that. So I think I'm going to do this flower down here. This watery purple. So we went to California and it was hot, hot, hot. It wasn't, I shouldn't say it was hot. It was just so humid. Like you just forget when you live, it really, I know it sounds crazy, but it really is a dry heat in Arizona. And so when that humidity hits you and when you're used to the dry heat, holy smokes. It's it will just knock you on your keister. Okay, I'm gonna do both of these flowers with this purpley because they're the same. I just thought that might be kind of fun and a nice design. Rule of design is to repeat and to create a nice visual triangle. So if I have these two things, right? I have these two, I repeated. That's a rule of design, and also a visual triangle. So I tried to create kind of a visual triangle. It's loose, but it's so here to here. That's a visual triangle. And then if I wanted to put my sentiment down here, that's going to anchor that visual triangle. Does that make sense to everybody? So now, let's see. Let's paint these. That same purple. So, stuck my arm in it. So on Thursday, I wanted to print on watercolor paper again, and the same printable, the same Debbie printable, and if you could bring your colored pencils. Is everybody doing the slimline, or are you the A2 or the individual, well, the slimline or the A2? Is everybody kind of doing the same thing? Or are you just getting into your painting and you don't want to talk? I understand. Sometimes I just lose myself in that, in the color and in the application of the paint. How it just kind of starts to take form as you're painting. Especially, oh, I need to turn that music down. Yikes, you guys. Thanks, Kills. I don't want to get in trouble for having music that I don't have the license to or whatever in the heck. Okay. So I just want you to, however you paint your flowers, paint them the same on each slimline. if that's what you're choosing to paint, or each A2, whatever you choose. And then paint one dark background and one light background. Let's see, what haven't we do? Ooh, let's do some green leaves. So we have there. I'm gonna do this one. Okay, let's see. We could do this little viney thing. Sometimes I draw flowers from nature, and sometimes I draw flowers from my imagination. And sometimes, most of the time, you're going to get a mixture of both. If I'm drawing an assignment for someone, a store or something, I try to be true to the real deal as possible. But some things I just like to draw what kind of comes out of my hand and my head, you know? So the whole process of drawing a printable, sometimes they come fast, sometimes they take a long time. It depends on the, I think sometimes like how big of an idea I have in my head in the beginning, right? How, sometimes I see the whole thing in my head. I have one that I'm working on right now that's, it's coming together and it's going to be super cute. I'm anxious to share it with you. But it's, and sometimes they take a while and sometimes it's super fast. But they always, I'm kind of inspired by someone or something. And I just have to get it out, down on paper. And often it's a person because, you know, I kind of like people. Look, I forgot this little sliver. I don't see any others. Whoa, how's everybody doing? Just checking in. So seriously, you won't believe this. This new stand showed up at 1:45 for a 2 o'clock class. Because if not, I had a whole, Jeff had this lamp that I was gonna rubber band my phone to kind of emulate the stand thing. How crazy is that? Okay, so now let's do these. Trying to do them all the same. This one I like because there's lots of nooks and crannies to color. Lucinda is, Lucinda and Debbie were the first ones I drew, and they are both my coworkers when I worked at Scraps of Love. I don't any longer. I haven't since November. But they're my friends, and so they inspired my first 2 printables, the Lucinda and the Debbie, by the way. And they both love flowers. And like I said, Debbie gave me that beautiful quote and that like just spurred me on to like just draw and draw and draw. So I'm going to paint these last bits of leaves, get little bits of color in there. Then we have some more flowers to paint. This one. Okay. Seriously, I'm loving them. So your background can be whatever you want it to be. It can be dark, like this. So you could do dark and light. Like you could do a light gray and a darker black. You could do white and black. You could do light blue and dark blue, light green and dark green. I just want you to play with the contrast. Like see what you can do with contrast. And one thing you can do, I don't know how we're doing on time. Somebody, 2:37. Okay, we have a little bit of time. One thing you can do as you're painting along is, especially on the dark one, you can come in and get like with one of your little liner brushes, or this is a 0, just darken in here, right? Just the same way we darken all the time, we're just gonna tap in some color, right? Because then that's gonna visually make this part of the flower recede and the petals protrude a little more, right? And remember, once we let that dry, then we're going to pounce it out. Right? So here's a good spot to do some dark, because you have 2 leaves meeting right here, or 2 petals, excuse me, meeting right there. And one is kind of on the top of the other. What I might do is come in with some of my yellow and add just a touch of black to that yellow. And I'm just going to get a deeper, do you see it? Just a little bit deeper yellow. I'm going to come right here. I mean, just barely a touch. Then I'm going to take the rest of that deeper yellow and I'm going to go in those spots that I've already started the shading process for you, right? Deepen it here, here, and then I'll even look down here. You see I've created these kind of veiny spots in up the petal. So we're just gonna tap bits of color on there. So down here by the stamen, remember that's gonna be deeper because we want to have some depth down there. But then we're gonna tap that out up those little dots that I've drawn for you. And that's going to start to, your flower will start to little by little take shape. You'll just start to see the shading really start to work for you, you know? And sometimes, you know, when we were putting this first layer of a deeper shade down, it's going to seem a little bit harsh because we haven't blended it in, but just be patient. Know that we're gonna do that tap, tap, tap blend. And before we know it, we're gonna have this beautiful, there, can you guys see that? How that has, these deeper shades here are, that's how we're building just the cupping of the petals. Does everyone see that? Is that too close or is that good? I hope it's good. So remember, we're gonna let that sit and soak in before we do our pouncy blend. We're going to get some more yellow, a little more, whoops, what was I looking at? Sorry guys. Now I'm seeing the close-up and I wasn't anywhere near the camera. Sorry. I'm going to add a little bit of black to that yellow. So I have that little bit deeper yellow. I'm going to come in and do the same thing over here. I'm going to deepen. I know this seems kind of time consuming, but the results are beautiful. Your flowers would just kind of come to life. Or whatever you're painting. Whatever, this little blending trick, I have kind of perfected it. You just need to be patient, like I said, and let it soak in a bit, and then go back and blend it out, soften those edges. I know, Barbara, I'm sorry. I hope I'm back in camera now. I think. My camera's at a different angle than it was, and so I'll try to keep looking up so I can kind of see where I am as I'm painting along. I need to make sure I remember this little spot. And here, and here. This one doesn't have one, but let's put a little bit of deeper in there. Thanks, Barbara. Hi, Aunt Chris. Hey. Okay, let's bring some of that deeper yellow into this blue flower. These are such nice colors together. Okay, let's see, where was it? Oh, so let's do the yellow on this one, on the flower that has the deeper background. Okay, so, how are we doing on time again? We got 15 minutes. Okay. So, I want to paint those last couple of flowers, but I really wanted to talk to you about, you know, when we talked about blending out. So this, we've been letting this sit for quite a while, this deeper red. Remember, that was one of the first things we painted. But you see, if we just come in and do that pounce and that little bit of I did do the background first, Allison, but you don't have to. It's just, but I think that it's easier to do the background first and let that, set that aside and let that dry before you start to paint the flowers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because then your opportunity for bleeding into each other, the background and the petals of the flowers and maybe the leaves, is less. So, you know, you can do whatever you want, but that's just, I'm just telling you, that's what I did. I could just sit here and paint with you girls till the cows come home. I have all those other states to draw, but I really could just sit here and paint with you all afternoon if I didn't have other work to do. That's for sure. So Allison has been helping me draw Alabama. In the car on the way to California, I just reached out to her and I said, these are the things I've drawn. Give me some other suggestions. And she gave me scads, and so I just drew all the way to my mother-in-law's house. So it was almost done. And that's a great feeling. Because then I'm going to be, whoops. And then I still have to do Alaska, Oregon, and I have quite a bit of sketching done. So my process is that I do a little research and I find out like what's the cool thing about that state besides the obvious things. What are the things that I reach out to people and ask about are what are things that only people who live there would know, so that when they're stitching their state stitchable, their state embroidery, that will like really hit their heartstrings, you know? So I start out with notes and then I start to sketch. And then once I've sketched all of those things, all of the bits and pieces that people have found from people have sent to me, or things I've found, or things that are pretty well known about that state, then I have to come in and then I have to make it fit like a collage, right, in the outline of the state. So that's like another whole process. So like everything that I draw won't necessarily make it to the state collage, because I usually can fit between like 5 and 6, maybe 7 things within that state. And so I just love it because I learn so much about each state, and I want to go to every state and I want to see all those things. That's for sure. And I'm lucky, you know, I have traveled to quite a few states, but there are some that, I still really want to go see. I still really want to experience them. And I can't wait to stitch these. That's for sure. So what colors shall we do these two flowers? Oh, I know. These, so the parts that we darkened, we're going to come in with our damp brush. Remember, we're going to wet our brush, dry it on our paint cloth, and then soften the edges, right? So that we have just this beautiful gradation. Like there's no starting and stopping of that color. It just works itself into the lighter color. I love that. Right? So so I don't remember if I finished this or not, but on Thursday's class, I want you to bring another printed copy of the Debbie Art Printable, your watercolors, and your colored pencils, and your brushes and watercolor, those kinds of things. That's just a given, but I want you to add colored pencils on Thursday, because I want to show you something really cool that I kind of invented at my mother-in-law's house. See how if you just come in and deepen, and it doesn't have to be much, right? Just deepen right along the edge. Just, I'm telling you, like barely along the edge. Then it's just gonna pop. That petal is gonna pop off the background, and that's what we're kind of going for. So here, and I purposely, that seems like I'm going too low. I purposely do my backgrounds really kind of splotchy, because then I'm not getting too hung up on it's not a smooth line, or it's not, you know, watercolor is supposed to be kind of loose and flowy, so we want to really play on that. No, thank you, Allison. Seriously, you made my car ride go very quick too, because I was just full of inspiration. Like one of the things she told me, was the Tuskegee Airmen, and I thought, how am I going to represent the Tuskegee Airmen in such a small thing, you know? In a little symbol somewhere on the printable, or on the stitchable. So I just kept doing some research and looking at all the different Tuskegee Airmen, and I mean, there were so many cool things, you know, and there's kind of a famous profile of 3 of them in a row, and I just look at everything that I can fill my brain with, and then all of a sudden it hit me, and I just drew the goggles, because they all wore the goggles, and you know, it's one of my favorite things. But that's not true, because that's all kind of my favorite things. So just see, you're just going to deepen around the edges, and that's going to make those colors just pop. And for these, on the light background, we're going to darken the edges of the flower petals. So we're kind of doing the opposite, right? Because this, I mean, you could certainly come in here and do some shading around the edges with just like maybe a super, super light gray and just start to build that. Or you could just leave it stark white and just make your flowers vibrantly colorful. Does that make sense, everybody? How's everybody doing with their painting? So now I'm going to come in here and soften that yellow edge, right? So I hope that everyone will come back on Thursday. And if you can't make it at the live time, remember you can always watch all of my videos right here on my Facebook page on the replay. And it seems that lots of people are doing that. And if you do, let me know that you watched it on the replay. I'm just curious, you know, like who's watching, and if there are things that you miss because it's on the replay that maybe I could include. I don't know. I'm just curious what everybody thinks. This, I'd like to just, so where I have these kind of veins in the petals, I like to just wet my brush and dry it. So I just have a damp brush, right? And then I like to come in and barely touch that line and just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's going to soften the line, the edge of the line, but it's going to make that just seem like it's absolutely part of the flower, right? There we go. I'm loving it. I hope you girls are loving it, and boys, if there's any boy out there, I don't know. Painting is for everyone. I hope that everybody, you know, I could just lose myself and then it could be, you know, 5 o'clock this afternoon. I hope that everybody, I gave you something to kind of gnaw on in your noggin and percolate, and put the stuff that I talked about into practice. Lay it down on your printables, because you're going to remember it more. You'll remember it if you've done it, right? Like, oh yeah, I remember I can create shading this way, or I can create nice contrast this way. But like I said, I promise I will finish painting my 2 examples here, and I will post the cards after I make them, after I put them together. I usually, like, once my base, my painting part is done, my watercolor, the flowers is done, I like to come in and I cover up kind of the background, or the flowers, right? Or whatever the big image is. And then I like to flick some color on there, like white or black. Something like on last Thursday, I used Dina Wakley's, do I have it up here? No. Dina Wakley's white gloss spray, and I just pulled out the sprayer, flipped water. And that was kind of cool because Dina's paints, her gloss sprays are acrylic, and acrylics are shiny. So you had that shiny juxtaposed to the matte of watercolors, and that was kind of cool. But I also highly recommend everybody get this Bleed Proof White by Dr. P.H. Martins. It stays white. It will not like absorb color that's underneath it, and you'll get nice white flecks, because that kind of, all of those little touches complete a card, right? Or complete a work, complete a, whether it's however, wherever you're doing, whatever kind of, if you're putting it in your art journal, or if you're making a card or a bookmark, whatever, all of those little added touches make it like a finished piece. So like if I embroidered the Michigan embroidery pattern, but I never did anything else with it, I didn't frame it or make it into a pillow or whatever, it just takes it to the next level. And I think that will set you apart. Like, so you do some splatters, do some dots of color, do some doodads like from High Supply, like sequins or those clay bits. You know, he has all kinds of different little clay hearts or clay circles or clay ladybugs. I try to put those on all of my flowers because I just think that's a cute little added touch. Those things will really take your cards to the next level. So, without further ado, I am going to say ta-ta and hope that you all continue to paint as I will continue to paint, and then I will post my projects, and I hope that you will post your projects. Be sure to, if you haven't, I just use my paintbrush to splatter. Seriously. Really, I just dip. So down here, I make some watery black, right? And then I just take my brush and just tap it, right? And then I do the same thing with the bleed-proof white. So does that help, Allison? I hope. And you know, even if you if you come up with a question, please just leave it on the website. Excuse me, on the Facebook group. I promise I will see it and I will answer you. I try very hard to check in there once a day. It makes me smile because there's always somebody's art project on there, and you know I love art. So be sure to post your projects either on the Ann Corbiere-Scott Designs page or on the Let's Get Artsy with Ann Corbiere-Scott private Facebook group. Until Thursday, I'm going to say goodbye. Talk to you soon.